Most men think they need to make a woman want them. They chase harder. They text more. They try to impress her. They give more attention. They become more available. But what if that's exactly what's killing the attraction? Because genuine desire doesn't come from pressure, persuasion, or endless attention. It comes from something much more psychological. When a woman feels emotionally safe, genuinely attracted, and deeply connected to a man, her desire can become something she doesn't need to be convinced into. She starts thinking about him when he's not around. She starts looking for opportunities to be close to him. She becomes more curious about him. And eventually, she may be the one making the first move. So what creates that shift? And what are most men doing that quietly destroys it? The answer begins with something most men completely misunderstand. Attraction is not a transaction. You don't give someone attention and automatically receive desire in return. You don't buy affection with expensive gifts. You certainly don't create chemistry by constantly proving how much you want her. In fact, sometimes the more desperately you try to demonstrate your value, the less she gets the chance to actually feel it. Because attraction isn't built by telling someone you're valuable. It's built by allowing them to experience your value. And there's a massive difference. Think about it. If a man constantly tells a woman, "I need you, I miss you, why aren't you answering? Do you still like me? What can I do to make you happy?" It may sound romantic in his head, but underneath those words is something very different. He is asking her to regulate his emotional state. And that changes the entire dynamic. Instead of two people choosing each other, one person starts chasing reassurance from the other. And that's where attraction can slowly begin to disappear. Not because caring is bad, not because affection is weak, but because desperation and connection are not the same thing. A confident man can care deeply without losing himself. He can want a woman without needing her validation to feel valuable. And that distinction is incredibly attractive. Because the first psychological shift is this. You have to stop trying to become irresistible and start becoming genuinely interesting. Have your own goals, your own interests, your own standards, your own friendships, your own direction, your own life. Because when your entire emotional world revolves around one person, they eventually become responsible for your happiness. And that creates pressure. But when you have a life that already has meaning, a relationship becomes something you add to your life, not something you need to complete it. And that changes how you show up. You become calmer, more present, less reactive. You don't panic when she needs space. You don't interpret every delayed text as rejection. You don't constantly test her feelings. And you don't need to perform. You simply exist as yourself. And here's where things get interesting. Because the second psychological principle is something most men get completely backward. Women don't only remember what you said, they remember how they felt around you. Read that again. She may forget your exact words. She may forget what you were wearing. She may even forget what you talked about. But she can remember the emotional experience of being around you. Did she feel judged or understood? Did she feel pressured or comfortable? Did she feel like she had to perform, or could she simply be herself? Did she feel like you were desperately trying to get something from her, or did she feel that you genuinely enjoyed being around her? That emotional environment matters, because desire grows much more naturally when someone feels both safe and intrigued. And yes, those two things can exist together. Safety without attraction can feel like friendship. Attraction without emotional safety can feel unstable. But when trust and chemistry begin working together, the relationship can become completely different. Now, here's the third shift. Stop trying to eliminate every bit of uncertainty. This one is going to surprise you. Healthy attraction doesn't mean keeping someone confused. It doesn't mean playing games. It doesn't mean disappearing for 3 days to make her chase you. That's not confidence, that's manipulation. Real confidence is much simpler. You don't reveal your entire emotional world in the first conversation. You don't demand instant certainty. You allow a relationship to unfold. You let curiosity breathe. Because when everything is immediately explained, there is nothing left to discover. Think about a great movie. If someone told you the entire ending in the first 5 minutes, would you keep watching? Probably not. Human connection works in a similar way. You don't need to reveal everything at once. Let her discover your personality, your ambitions, your humor, your vulnerabilities, your world. Not as a strategy, but because real intimacy takes time. And that leads to the fourth principle: emotional presence. This is where many men fail without realizing it. They hear confidence and become emotionally unavailable. They hear don't chase and start acting cold. They hear be mysterious and start playing mind games. That's not what we're talking about. A woman doesn't necessarily want a man who is emotionally distant. She wants a man who is emotionally grounded. There is a difference. Grounded means you can listen without becoming defensive. You can communicate without begging. You can disagree without exploding. You can show affection without losing your identity. You can say, "I really enjoy being with you," without secretly meaning, "Please tell me I'm enough." That's emotional strength. And emotional strength creates something powerful: trust. Because when someone knows that your emotions aren't going to suddenly control the relationship, they can relax. And when a person relaxes, connection becomes easier. Now here's where the entire dynamic can change. Instead of constantly asking yourself, "How do I make her want me?" ask a completely different question. How do I create a relationship where both of us genuinely want to be here? That's a much more powerful question, because now you're not trying to manipulate an outcome. You're building an environment where attraction can actually grow. And there's one more mistake that can destroy this entire process: over-pursuing. You text, she responds. You immediately text again. She takes some time. You send another message. She doesn't answer. You ask if something is wrong. She finally responds. You apologize for bothering her. And without realizing it, you've turned communication into a test of your worth. Stop. A healthy relationship isn't a hostage negotiation. You don't need constant proof. If she likes you, allow her to show it. If she wants to spend time with you, give her room to initiate. If she reaches out, respond because you want to, not because you're terrified of losing her. And here's the paradox. When you stop desperately trying to control someone's desire, you create space for their authentic desire to appear. Maybe she initiates the conversation. Maybe she suggests seeing you. Maybe she starts asking more questions. Maybe she becomes more affectionate. Maybe she starts making it obvious that she wants your attention. And when that happens, don't immediately turn it into another test. Don't think, "Finally, now I have to make sure she never loses interest." That's another trap. The goal isn't to make someone permanently obsessed with you. The goal is to build mutual attraction that doesn't require manipulation. Because real desire is voluntary. Real affection is voluntary. Real intimacy is voluntary. And that's precisely why it's valuable. You don't want someone who behaves a certain way because you psychologically forced them into it. You want someone who chooses you, again and again, because they genuinely enjoy who you are and how they feel in the relationship. So let's bring everything together. If you want a woman to feel increasingly drawn toward you, don't start by asking what you can do to get her attention. Start by asking what kind of man you're becoming. Do you have a life outside the relationship? Do you have boundaries? Can you communicate honestly? Can you handle rejection without falling apart? Can you give affection without demanding something in return? Can you make her feel safe without becoming emotionally dependent? Can you create excitement without playing games? Can you desire her while still respecting her freedom to choose? Because that's the real psychological shift. You don't chase desire. You create the conditions where genuine desire can grow. And when the connection is real, you won't always have to wonder whether she wants you. You'll see it in her effort, in her curiosity, in her attention, in the way she chooses to spend her time with you. And sometimes you'll notice something even more powerful. You stop being the only one moving the relationship forward. She starts moving toward you too. Not because you found some secret trick, not because you manipulated her psychology, but because she genuinely feels something. And that is the difference between getting someone's attention and becoming someone they genuinely want to be close to. So the next time you feel the urge to chase harder, pause. Don't ask, how can I make her want me? Ask, am I creating a relationship worth wanting? Because that question changes everything. And once you understand that, you stop chasing attraction and start becoming the kind of person attraction naturally finds.